All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is Dissecting the Quran. You know, Dr. Kufaphobia, that would be me. We got Paul Sutliff and Mary Harb. We don't know if she's wearing her niqab today.
Not today.
And we might have Brother Usama Dakdok, but it's not guaranteed. He might do a, what do they call that?
Cameo appearance.
Cameo, sneak in. So let's change and we'll go on for 2 hours. Let's see. Okay. So we left off. We read 125, but we'll read it again. All right. I got to get back on my screen. Okay. All right. So 125. Okay. And, I don't want to get Osama pissed off at me, so I'm going to read his highlighted portion. Okay, so it says, Allah leads some people to Islam and restricts others from believing. Only Muslims will have the house of peace. Others will only have the house of war. Yeah. Okay, so 125. So whomever Allah desires to guide, he opens his chest to Islam. And whomever he desires to mislead, he will make his chest extremely narrow, as though he was only ascending to the heaven. Likewise, Allah made the uncleanness on those who do not believe. So Allah desires to guide, okay, whoever he wants, and whoever he desires to mislead, that's okay too. So the three of us here, obviously we've been Allah's desire that we mislead. Obviously, we're not promoting Islam, so we must be misleading. And I think this is the verse where Muslims say, see, look, Allah is talking about, when you go up a mountain and it feels like your chest is constricting. It's actually the opposite, but that's okay. It might feel like it, but that's not why. Okay, 126. Man, we got to finish this darn chapter today. Okay, so 126. And this is your Lord's straight way. Okay, thank God that was short. Indeed, we expound on the verses to the people who remember. Okay, so
which verses are they remembering?
He doesn't expound on the verses to those who don't remember. And what verses? Is it the verses from the Torah, the verses from the Injil, or whatever was given to Abraham and everybody else? Is it the Quran? Ladies and gentlemen, we don't know. Mary, I was thinking of streaming this on Clubhouse, but too lazy today. And just open up a room and stream it. Okay, 127. For them is a home.
You can do that? You can just open a room and stream this?
Oh, yeah, because it would just be,
what
do you call it? Not stream it. It would basically be the audio.
Huh, I'll have to talk with you later about how to do that, because that sounds interesting.
Okay, so 127. For them is a home of peace with their Lord, and he will be their friend because of what they were doing. So what were they doing? Anybody know what they were doing? Mary?
I don't know. Sounds like Alice peeping.
Just the idea is that he is their protector for that they were doing. So the ones who have remembered are the ones who have the wali, the protector in Allah. But the thing is, so he's protecting to the people whom he chooses to guide. Like that's basically it. Allah has decided to guide whomever he wants, all right? And then because they do what Allah has determined that they do, Allah will be their wali.
That's kind of humorous when you think about it, because he's chosen not to lead the others, and he won't put them back on the straight path.
So who's to blame? So
Allah.
you see, the reason that I am not a Muslim, it's not because I don't want to be a Muslim. It's just Allah is telling me, you can't be a Muslim. I don't want you as a Muslim. So Muslims, please stop getting on my case. Go talk to Allah and tell him, hey, can you guide Dr. Kuffar? 128. And a day he will gather them together. Oh, assembly of jinn. Indeed, you took a great number of the humans and their friends from the humans. And their friends from the humans said, okay, so we got jinn who apparently have friends that are humans, and the humans say, our
Okay,
Lord. Go ahead.
yeah. The word here again is the same word as the protector wali in the previous chapter. It can be translated as allies or friends or whatever else. So this is now saying that Allah is the wali of the people, except now he's going to condemn the jinn for having become the wali of the people in the place of Allah.
No, wait a minute. The jinn are angels, right? Or are they
No,
demons?
they're
Well, sort of. Whenever what Muhammad originally taught is that the jinn were a tribe of angels. But because he said contradictory things, he said that angels don't have free will. But then the leader of the jinn, who is Iblis, rebelled against God. That means he has free will, right? And because of this ridiculous contradiction, they went, oh, wait, the jinn weren't angels after all. They were instead completely different. But then that makes the story completely stupid, where Allah is telling the angels to bow down to Adam and commit shirk with Adam. And then Iblis gets condemned for not doing it because the command was not to Iblis. It was not to the jinn, unless the jinn are angels. So it's incredibly contradictory, but the jinn are supposed to be made out of smokeless fire and the angels out of light. And they're supposed to be now different, but that's not what Muhammad originally taught. He taught a contradiction. I know you're shocked, right?
Hold on a second. My jaw just dropped. Hey, I got a better question. Light is not something physical. Okay, that's just our eyes and the wavelength.
Well, neither is
Well,
well. Light has a wave and a particle, so there is photons
physicality.
do have are particles in a certain sense. However, fire, of course, is not a substance like that. And the entire thing comes because Muhammad accepted the view of the ancient Greeks that there are certain elements, namely earth, water, fire, air, and he added light. So that makes 5 elements. And everything that's made is made out of a mixture of these elements. So the jinn are made of fire, humans are made of water and earth, angels are made of light, and the Ifrit actually are made of air if you go into other Islamic sources outside of Muhammad himself. So you have every creature is made of a mixture or a singular element. And of course, all of this is not true, but that's what Muhammad taught.
All right, so let me go back to
Oh my
128.
gosh, I haven't heard those. I haven't heard the elements stories in ages. Yeah.
Okay, and a day he will gather them together, O assembly of jinn, and indeed you took a great number of the humans, and their friends from the humans said, O Lord, we enjoyed one another, and we have reached our set term which you have set for us. He said, your dwelling is the fire, abide in it forever, except what Allah wills. Okay, so I guess if Allah wills,
so if that's true, shouldn't Satan, which is Iblis, correct?
Yeah,
then be in a place of fire?
I would think so.
But
why would that bother them since they're made of fire, right?
Yeah, well, that also is yeah. But if they believe that this passage, if Muslims actually believe this passage, then they shouldn't be calling America the Great Satan. Because the Satan is supposed to be already in hell, according to this.
No, this is supposed to be at the end.
Okay.
This is supposed to be a scene of the final judgment where the jinn are getting condemned to fire, although goodness knows why that would bother them since they're supposed to be made out of fire.
Well, you know what? If you like fire, I mean, why? Yeah, it sounds like a paradise to them. Maybe that's what he's trying to say.
It's like a polar bear being in the North Pole. I mean, it's not going to bother him. So, okay, surely your Lord is wise, knowing. Okay. 129, and likewise we make friends among the unjust to one another because of what they were earning. Man, I'd like to know, what jobs do they have? There's a lot of earning and a lot of payments and so forth. All right, let me read Usama just in case he's listening. The Quran teaches that Allah has sent messengers to the jinn. Ooh, that's interesting. I did not know that. 130. Oh, assembly of the jinn and the humans, have not messengers come to you from among yourselves, relating my verses to you and warning you of the meeting of this your day? Okay, so who were the messengers from the jinn? Do we have any jinn prophets, any jinn messengers that we know of?
You know, I've never heard of jinn in the Old Testament either. Where do they come up with this word?
And notice, I just want you to notice something here. It's very important. Messengers come to you from among you. Right. So according to Islam, the messengers must come from among them.
Mm-hmm. Where have we heard that?
I mean, that's in Leviticus too, Deuteronomy. I mean, the prophets must come from
No. Well, that one is saying specifically that there will come, and Deuteronomy 18:15 and 18:18 is telling the children of Israel that there will be a prophet like Moses from amongst you. Mm-hmm. So Moses at that point is standing up and looking over a crowd, and he said, "There will be a prophet from amongst you."
He's talking to the people.
So he's talking to people. He's looking at people, and he's like, "You. The prophet will be amongst you." That means that is an exclusive group who's being addressed as a singular body, out of whom no one else can come. So apparently, Muhammad got confused about the exclusivity of prophets coming from Israel and somehow thought that every group would get its own prophet from its own people. However, in Islam, you find out in Surah 14:5, for instance, that Moses was sent to Pharaoh. Right after 14:4, saying that prophets are sent only with their own language, it says. So that would make Pharaoh Hebrew, because he's coming with Hebrew, which would be the language of his people. If you go, he was adopted. Well, then you have to explain, Aaron was also sent to Pharaoh. Aaron was not adopted. No one says Aaron was adopted. Aaron came to Pharaoh. Aaron came to Pharaoh with the language of his people, which was Hebrew, apparently, but he should have come to his own people, according to 130. He should not have come to anyone else.
Not an adopted people.
Not an adopted people, but Aaron wasn't even adopted. Aaron was not adopted.
Right. But here's the other problem that I have with that.
So Aladdin here has just said that jinn are mentioned in the Bible.
Well, can you give us the verse?
Okay, I read Greek and Hebrew, Aladdin. I think you're really messed up if you're trying to make that claim.
Yeah.
But Paul, the problem that
they're not mentioned.
The problem that I have is that in the Quran it says that, for every nation there's a messenger, prophet, whatever the hell you want to call it, that comes from its people. But yet Aaron and Moses are two prophets at the exact same time, and both of them went to Pharaoh. And
who was not from the people of either of them, and who did not speak the language of either of them. Their people's language, the language of their people. So yeah, why was Aaron sent to the wrong person? Why was he sent with the wrong language? Why would Moses be sent to the Egyptians when Moses was not an Egyptian? So yeah, it's all ridiculous.
Well, yeah, and I was going to say, so you have, so you have Aaron and Moses going to basically Pharaoh. Now, I had one smart Muslim that said, "Oh, uh, Moses was shy and he wasn't a good speaker, so Allah had to appoint another prophet to help him out." But then, what happens with Abraham? Because Abraham was a prophet, Lot was a prophet. Then Abraham had Ishmael, he's a prophet. And then Abraham had Isaac, and he's a prophet. So you got 4 prophets right there, right? And who were they sent to? Lot's people wasn't the people of Sodom and Gomorrah.
Yeah, they screwed that one up too. They screwed this up constantly.
What didn't they screw up? Okay, O assembly of jinn and the humans, have not messengers come to you from among yourselves, relating my verses to you and warning you of the meeting of this your day. Okay. They said, we bore witness against ourselves, and the world's life deceived them, and they bore witness against themselves. I think I got that the first time. Against themselves, that they were infidels. So we have infidel jinns and infidel humans. 131, this, because your Lord would not destroy the villages unjustly, and their people were unaware. Okay, the people are unaware of what?
Wait. Are these the people that the jinn took? I mean,
okay, so no, this is explaining. So the entire pattern that Muhammad thinks that there is that every city in the world is going to be destroyed and then taken over by the true believers before the end of time. Okay, so there's this pattern where a messenger comes to a town.
Jihad. Yes.
Well, there shouldn't be any need for jihad because supposedly Allah is going to take care of all this, but he's pretty pathetic and doesn't take care of anything. So what we have here is that according to Muhammad, what happens is that every town, every city gets its own messenger who comes and calls the people to monotheism, to Islam, to submission. And then certain people listen and certain people don't listen. And the people who don't listen, Allah sends an evil thing upon the city and destroys the city. And the people who had listened inherit that city and inherit that land.
So how do we explain Pakistan or these other places that have such evil in them? I mean, we can look at...
Well, none of it makes any sense whatsoever. Yeah. Well, they're all Islamic, so apparently they're all doing great according to Muhammad. But the issue is that in another place, you will find that there will be no city that will not be destroyed before the final hour, according to Islam. So all the cities that weren't founded, like New York City, Dallas, even at this time, most of the cities in Northern Europe weren't yet founded. Each one of these would need to have its own messenger to come and be selected by Allah and give a new message. So Muhammad could not be the final prophet because more cities were founded after Muhammad. For Muhammad to be the final prophet, there cannot be another city founded after Muhammad, because you have to have this pattern according to the Quran. It's in a whole bunch of different places that this has to happen. So here's this pattern that there will be cities and that no city will be destroyed except for one who has had a prophet come to them. So who was the prophet for Pompeii? Because Pompeii was destroyed, right? Mm-hmm. But no city should have been destroyed except that there was a messenger who had come to it beforehand.
And we can also look at, let's talk about the day. We have the Fulani herdsmen who are wiping out entire villages and towns of non-Muslims. Are you telling me that they've sent a mess? I mean, this Allah doesn't send messengers to them saying, "Oh, convert or die," because that's exactly what's happening. They aren't giving warnings; they're just running in and slaughtering them.
Right. Originally, Muhammad said that you had to give the call to every city before you went in and slaughtered all the people, because, of course, there weren't any other messengers except for him and his deluded brain. No one had ever in the history of the world come up with this crazy idea of these messengers coming to warn and then Allah destroying a place. So Muhammad himself took the role as I'm being the one to destroy. So then he, taught that, we should call them to Islam and then destroy them. But then he came up with excuses to do dirty sneak attacks because, of course, he is a dirty, dirty man. And did dirty things, even according to his own very questionable morals. But yeah, that's what this whole sequence is that Allah will not destroy the cities without first warning them.
Well, Allah better start making some new messengers, because that 124,000, that's nothing. If what you're saying is that cities can't be destroyed without a messenger, and man, how many cities have sprung up since Momo?
Exactly. Every city will be destroyed before the end, before the judgment, according to the Quran. And no city will be destroyed except that has had a messenger come to it. So there cannot be, in Islam, with Muhammad as a final messenger, there cannot be a single city founded after the advent of Islam, or else Islam is false. It's just that simple.
So the whole country of America is then a reason why Islam would be upset with America, because it was established, the entire country and the entire the way we are now, everything since the 700s that's been established and created is a denial of the Islamic faith.
Well, it is, but also Muslims are taught to be as ignorant as possible. If they don't speak Arabic, they're not encouraged to learn it. They're just encouraged to repeat. They're certainly not supposed to be reading this with thought and go, hey, Allah just said here that he will not destroy any city, except that, who are unaware, unless the people have been warned, he will not destroy it. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous.
Hey, Aladdin does breakdancing, just in case you guys want to know. He's an excellent breakdancer.
Okay.
132. And to all are assigned decrees of what they have done, and your Lord is not unaware of what they do. Okay. 133. And your Lord is the rich, the possessor of mercy. Hey, Allah. If Allah is the rich, how come in the Quran it says, I should lend you a loan and that you will repay me with interest?
Oh, and I want to be, I just wanted to throw in a couple of the other verses that actually explain this. Surah 17, 15, verse 15. And we are not punishing until we raise up a messenger. And when we desire to destroy a city, we command its luxuriant men, and they defiantly disobey therein. Then a statement is made true against it, and we destroy it with destruction. And how many generations that have we done this with, et cetera, et cetera. And then we find out in 1758, there is not any town except we are destroying it before the day of resurrection, or we are punishing it with a severe punishment that was written in the book. So you cannot be punished until you get the prophet. And every city will be punished.
All right. So he can send away if he wills, and make whom he wills to be a successor after you, as he raised you up from the offspring of another people. Okay. Nothing confusing about that there. Surely what you are promised will come to you, and you cannot escape. All right. So what were they promised?
They were promised this horrible punishment that's supposed to happen.
You mean they're not getting the couch and the gold bracelets?
Yeah, this is all still more of this whole thing where he's saying that, look, you're going to have all of these terrible punishments because this is what happens every time.
And it's and it's the way he words it. It's very, very unclear, which is, which is the standard for the Quran, which makes me wonder why anybody actually follows this faith.
Aladdin, how could I forget the liar who tells people that you've been schooling me for 6 years, but you don't know me for 6 years?
Oh,
So yes,
and don't
I will
forget, he
never
said
forget
he
you.
offered he wrote on my page to ask me to debate, and he never has. He hasn't still.
Oh man. Yes, you can show us how the Quran is a clear communication device.
That's what I
I,
offered. I
I like
offered
that
that debate
one.
for you. I'm still waiting for it.
Say 135. Say, oh my people, do your best. Surely I am doing. Oh man, there's some grammar problems there. I am doing okay.
Doesn't
So you
matter
will,
what language you are speaking.
it's still not
Oh, my people, do your best. Surely I am doing what?
taking a crap. So you will know from whom. I think the problem is where the punctuations are put in, because that doesn't really exist in Arabic, or at least definitely not back then. So maybe it shouldn't have been there. Maybe it should have been a comma.
So you will know for whom will be the final home. It
Yes.
still doesn't make any sense.
Surely the unjust will not prosper. Yeah, well, I mean, so far in the 5, 6 chapters we've read, that seems to be the case. And they assign to Allah a portion of the harvest and livestock which he has produced.
Wait a minute.
Whoa,
That
Allah
would mean Allah
produced
gets to
livestock?
eat.
Yeah.
Does
But wait a
Allah
minute.
eat? Is he
And they,
physical creation?
and they assign to Allah a portion of the harvest and livestock which he has produced. Okay, he is singular, they is plural. Now, doesn't the he, Mary probably knows more about the grammar because I'm just learning. Shouldn't the he go back to the last pronoun, Allah?
Yeah, I have a note in here that the grammar is bad. I'm looking at it now because I forgot to note what was wrong with it in this one. So
Okay.
I just pulled up the Arabic again to look at it.
Yeah, because I mean, he goes from a they, which is plural, and then he goes to a he, but I'm thinking he, how do we know who he? Because the Muslims always tell us that he and we is Allah. So I'm thinking, okay, so Allah produced harvest and livestock. Okay.
Oh, here
So
it is. Indeed, the wrongdoers, will not succeed. Yes, that's a grammar error.
all right,
Yeah, and soon you will know who. Wait, let me check that one. And soon that's plural. So you guys, I did translate that well. You guys will know who shall have for himself the end, the home. Indeed, he will not succeed. The wrongdoers, will not succeed. So yeah, this is a ridiculous grammar issue.
Okay, so 136. Okay, and they assign to Allah a portion of the harvest and livestock in which he has produced. Okay, so they said, this is to Allah by their claim, and this is for our partners.
Wait a minute.
Let me pull up the other.
You almost have to reread that just because they keep saying Allah doesn't have any partners.
So this is criticizing the people who associate with Allah. It's just doing it in a really poorly articulated sentence. So they appoint to Allah the tillage and the cattle that he multiplied a portion, saying, this is for Allah, so they claim, and this is for our partners. So what is for their associates does not reach Allah, and what is for Allah reaches their partners. Evil is what they judge. So I think that this is about So I think that the pagans previously spoke the name of some god over whatever they were about to kill. And sometimes they said the name of Allah because, of course, Allah was their moon god, right?
Yeah.
So sometimes they said Allah and then killed the animal. And sometimes they said Alat and killed the animal. And sometimes they said Manat and killed the animal. And sometimes they said Manat and killed the animal. And I think that he is criticizing them for not saying only Allah, the moon god's name, and rather saying all the other names that they were saying as well.
Okay, so, and this is for our partners, 27. 27 says idols, false gods. Okay. And this is for our partners, the idol, da, da, da. So what was for those partners? What's 28? 28 is their idols. Okay. So it will not reach to Allah. And what was for Allah? So it reaches to their partners. Man, did you understand that?
Yeah, so that basically means that Muhammad here thinks that whenever you say the name of a god over an animal and kill it, that animal's spirit somehow goes to, or whoever's name you say over it somehow gains an actual benefit from the thing that you have pronounced the name of a god over.
Okay.
So this is Muhammad's idea right now, that you should only do this pagan practice over with the name of Allah, because he's decided that Allah is the only God.
All right. Evil is what they judge. Okay. 137. And likewise, it is beautified to many of the polytheists the killing of their children for their partners, to make them turn away, and they mix for them their religion. And if Allah willed, they would not have done it. So leave them in what they are forging. So this is all Allah's fault, according to this, man. It's Allah doing this. So why is Muhammad being so rough on these people? It says right here, and if Allah willed, apparently Allah didn't will, and that's why they're doing all this stuff. They're polytheists and killing of their children for their partners. I'm not quite sure what that means, killing your children for your partners. But hey, I'll kill your. Maybe this is talking about the children.
So no, it isn't. It isn't. It's nominative. It's not accusative. So it's not killing for the partners. So, and thus the partners saying that the associate or the associates. So the partners have made fair seeming to many of the associators to slay their children, so that they may destroy them, and so that they may confuse their religion for them, is actually what is meant here. It is a word salad. This is a particularly bad word salad. But what he's saying here is that these other gods have made it seem to the people that that it's okay to kill your kids. And if Allah had willed, these other gods would not have tricked people. So leave them in what they forge. This is all connected to the jinn being associated. So now kind of the jinn are being called the ones who tricked human beings into killing their kids. But Allah willed specifically. Allah wanted these people to have gotten tricked so that they killed their children.
That's pretty sad. That's what I was waiting for you to say. Thank you.
Right. Okay. Okay. 138. And they said, these livestock and crops are forbidden. No one will eat them except whom we will, by their claim. And livestock whose backs were forbidden. What? Okay.
So in the pagan era, if a camel reached a certain age and had a certain number of kids or had a certain number of properties, that particular camel was considered sacred, and people could no longer ride it because it was considered to be a sacred camel. And so he's saying that this is a pagan practice, and because these cattle are not being associated, these large domestic animals are not being associated with the law, or not rather considered holy to Allah. They're just considered just kind of vaguely sacred and forbidden. And so you guys shouldn't do this anymore. And then they would be slaughtered in very special circumstances.
Be allowed to be eaten. Is that what you're saying?
Well, they wouldn't be allowed to be ridden at all. So their backs have been forbidden, and they would only be eaten under special circumstances by special people. I guess people associated with a certain cult or something.
Now, would these backs also have, be tender because they've suffered so much? Is that the other issue?
No, No, it has nothing to do with that. It's just that their backs are forbidden, meaning that you can't ride on them, because they're considered sacred after a certain point. Kind of like the sacred cattle in Hinduism. They kind of had the same thing, but only for certain camels.
So
But then they
Aladdin
would
be
specially
forbidden
slaughter.
from riding one of these camels, correct?
Do what?
So Aladdin would have been forbidden from riding one of these camels.
Yes, indeed. Aladdin could not have ridden the camel.
He couldn't even dance to one. Yes, there we go.
Now, see, here's a problem, because Allah must have figured out that nobody was going to read his book beyond the 7th century. Because I'm reading this and it says livestock. Okay, but I'm like, what livestock?
Yeah, the word is a generic livestock one. It's not. That's why it's translated in the old one as cattle, because cattle used to actually mean any large livestock, not just moo cows, kine, as the old English word is. So it means large livestock. So you just have to magically know the background of this, or like read up on it to know what on earth is being made here.
Right, and that is my problem, and the reason we're doing this, because in the Quran it's supposed to be it's a book that clarifies everything, and it's detailed. But
and
if
it keeps saying it's clear, and we don't find it clear.
But if I pick this up and knowing what I know about livestock, I mean, what livestock are we talking about? Cows, pigs, chicken, horses. I mean,
and you have to think about desert life, and small.
Well, that's just the
process of only living in a desert, and you got camels. That's it.
Are there a lot of cows in Mecca? Is that something that's raised in the desert? I mean,
no. The word is a generic word for large beasts of burden. There are no cows. They're the only large beasts of burden.
The camels
were the camels. Yeah. Right. So but because of a bunch of ahadith that are about the sacred camels that were forbidden to ride, and Muhammad condemning that, you can tell what it's about because of that.
Right, but you just brought up something, the hadiths, but I'm looking at this book that's supposed to be explained in detail and a clarification of everything, but I don't know what livestock is. Let's say I didn't know, talking about Mecca. Okay, maybe they had some ostriches in the desert. I don't know. But anyway, okay, so, and the livestock, they do not pronounce the name of Allah on it. Forgery against him. And livestock, they do not pronounce the name of Allah on it. Forgery against him. Okay. He will
or what?
Forgery.
Oh, it's a forging against him. It's a let's see how he translated this.
He's got his forgery.
A forgery against him. Yeah. So basically, this is saying that, like, by doing that, you're making something up that's against Allah by not pronouncing the name of Allah. It's kind of weird. An action against him, a creative act that is against him, basically.
He will reward them because what they were forging. Now, reward them.
So recompense is another word that means the same thing. It doesn't mean that you'll get something good. It means you'll get what is your due, what you've got coming for refusing to do that.
And we know it's not good, so I'm surprised he didn't say hellfire on them, but okay.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's kind of the contents.
Okay, 139. And they said, what is in the belly of these livestock is reserved for our males and forbidden to our wives. Okay, wait a minute. What exactly is in the belly of the livestock that's for the males? What do we find inside the belly of these?
They mean that they actually mean the wombs, but he just said belly instead. So it means the unborn cattle, or the unborn, rather, in this case, camels certain camels are going to be only allowed to men, and women are not going to be able to participate in it because of some sort of religious pagan superstition or belief about it.
Another issue where Allah is demonstrating he doesn't know how the reproduction system.
Oh wait, this says refers to milk. What is in the bellies of such and such cattle is for our males alone. It is about milk which they prohibited for their females, allow only their males to drink. When a sheep would give birth to a male sheep, they would slaughter it and feed it to their males, but not to their females. The newly born lamb was female, they would not slaughter it, but if it was stillborn, they would share it with their females. Allah forbade this practice.
What are you reading?
So this is even more confusing. I think that some of this is just nonsense that they couldn't remember, but I think that it means that they're just, if you look at the Ibn Kathir, the people later on were confused about it, but I think that they mean that if they had you typically have a surplus of male animals whenever they're born, because you only need a few males and then you want as many females that the males can service. So when the males were still young and tender, they'd be slaughtered. And so they would be if males were born and were slaughtered young and tender, then only men were allowed to eat that. But if the animal is stillborn, then both men and women could eat it.
Well, this is another example of what Dr. Kuffar keeps saying. This is not clear, and if you have to go read something to clarify it, it's far from clear.
No, it's totally unclear. And some of the folks were so confused that they thought it was about milk alone. But I don't know of any pre-Islamic society that did not allow women to drink milk in that area. So I think that they were totally confused.
I mean, it just shows that Allah does not hold women in a favorable light.
Well, no, this is actually saying that this is being forbidden, that this is what used to happen, but you shouldn't do that anymore. So this is not a case of him. He denigrates women plenty, but this is not a case of him denigrating women.
Okay, so he's undoing that. Okay, so this is the point that you were making. If it's stillborn, then both the males and the female can eat of it. But wait a minute.
This is an old practice that Muhammad is condemning here and saying that, oh, you shouldn't do this. This is all superstition. You know, the devil peeing in your ears is not superstition. The devil pulling your anus hairs is not superstition. The devil sitting on the backs of ponytails. You're not allowed to wear a ponytail in Islam because the devil will sit on your ponytail. That's not superstition, but this particular food tradition that they had in their culture, superstition, is being rejected, which fine, whatever. We can move
something if you know, you've got the people who write the tafsirs saying this is confusing. That's funny.
So basically he's saying, if you look at the next verse, he's saying that, like, the people who've gone astray are those who forbid things that Allah has allowed to people and have slain their children in foolishness. So that's basically what 140 is contending, that these two things are both evils done against Allah. But Muhammad himself, of course, forbade things that God had previously permitted. And he also permitted things that God intended to always be forbidden.
Well, we're not talking about God, we're talking about Allah, right? I mean, this is a
I'm saying that Muhammad permitted things that God had forbidden.
You're talking about that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Real God.
Yeah, the real God.
Not Muhammad's pretend God.
Yeah.
Okay, so 140.
141. She just read 140.
Oh, okay. Well, she explained it. Okay, so Allah does not love the extravagance. Okay, for 141. And he is who produces gardens, trellised and untrellised, and the palm trees and the different edible plants and the olives and the pomegranates, like and unlike. Okay. Now, why is it talking about olive trees when I'm pretty sure there's no olive trees in Mecca or Medina? Now,
Muhammad here is trying to be poetic, and he's just listing off every type of food that he knows about. And whenever he runs out of ideas, he's just like, and the other crops that have fruit. Yeah, those.
Yeah. I'm also pretty sure pomegranates don't grow there either. But then again,
So
No,
he's
nothing
mentioning,
grows there, but they traded. So
Right.
they traded to Taif for a lot of things. They traded in other places. So yeah, absolutely nothing grew there, but they traded out for everything that
so
they had.
this is the knowledge he had as a trade trade or as a merchant, I should say,
Right.
and this is his experience as a merchant purchasing stuff like this. He doesn't have a broad enough vocabulary to talk about other things, and because these are the same fruits he continues to list, and he keeps talking about fruit over and over again, but
Well, I
he
mean,
can't go beyond this.
look at his vagueness. Gardens trellised and untrellised. Like he can't think about how else to refer to a vineyard versus an orchard versus a whatever. He doesn't have the terminology for that because he's from an area that's so deprived that he just lacks the basic vocabulary for these things. And of course, that
That's
means
no,
that
he
Allah
can't
lacks
tell the
basic
difference
vocabulary
between,
too.
yeah, he can't differentiate between how vines grow and trees grow. He doesn't know that that fruit grows on trees. It's pretty evident.
All right, then we go on. Eat of their fruit when they bear fruit, and pay its true due on its reaping day, and do not be extravagant. Surely he does not love the extravagant. Okay, and 142. And some of the livestock for burdens and for traveling. Okay, and some of that just got thrown in there that makes no sense with what we were just talking about. Talking about fruits and trees, and all of a sudden, and some of the livestock for
Well,
burdens.
yeah, he's talking and also the same thing for the livestock for burden and for slaughter. So, I wonder why he has traveling there. Let me check
He's a
that
merchant.
word.
He's the traveling merchant.
Well, no. I'm wondering why the translation says traveling because I have slaughter there.
Okay.
So,
yeah, that might be one of those parts that he says he's.
All right, let me look at my little guy here as I'm awakening. What are we? 6-1 what?
142.
142, because I have to go to another screen. Okay, 6.
Well, Usama has said he's updating, and I'm guessing he has said that there are some words he mistakenly translated, so this could be one of them. I'm not sure.
On this one here, according to the word for word, it says, and of the cattle are some for burden and some for meat. Eat of what? Go ahead.
Yeah, I think that this is a really unclear word because it's something about being spread out. So I think that it's a guess on the part of the translator that it means meat, and I think that Usama's best guess was that spreading out, like moving around, traveling. So I think that may be just because this is the only time this word is ever used. So this may just be a really obscure word.
See, and he's got livestock. The other translations that I read, including the word for word, it's talking about cattle.
Yeah, it's like completely it's completely unclear even, and
cattle and
Ibn
livestock
Kathir
are synonymous though. So that's cattle and livestock are synonymous terms.
Yeah, but we don't have cattle in the desert. So that would be a problem.
Your definition of cattle isn't their definition of cattle would be camels. And
yes,
that's
cattle. Yes, cattle just means any kind of very large livestock in the general English terminology, even though we typically use it now for
cows.
Beef cattle is what we use it for. That's not its strictest name. It's just a narrowing of the older term.
Okay.
Yeah. Animals for burden are the camels used for carrying things, while farsh refers to small camels. Nobody's sure of what that word farsh means. Farsh is that they eat its meat and milk it. The sheep is not able to carry things, so you eat its meat and use its wool for covers or mats or clothes. So that is just a wild guess about what that other word for burden and for.
And this is from the clear, explained, detailed book. All right, so we go on. Eat from what Allah provided you and do not follow the steps of Satan. Surely he is to you an obvious enemy. Okay. This is the one. Oh, okay. This is the funny one here that some guy was trying to tell me. It was talking about DNA. All right. This is supposed to be 8. What number is that?
What is 30?
Yeah, 30 says pairs.
8 pairs to. Oh, this is what they're trying to claim that's DNA.
Yeah, some guy. It's talking about 8 pairs. Okay, so 8 pairs. Okay, so 2 from the sheep and 2 from the goats. So now we got 4 pairs, right? And the 2 males forbidden, or the 2 females of that which the wombs of the 2 females enclose. So inform me with knowledge if you are truthful. What the hell does that verse even mean? 8 pairs, but where's the 8 pairs? We got 2
and what
pairs.
Are they doing with the 8 pairs?
We got 2 pairs from the sheep, okay, and we got 2 pairs from the goats. That's 4 pairs. What does he mean? Are 2 males forbidden, or the 2 females of that which the wombs of the 2 females enclose? Inform me with knowledge if you are truthful. Inform Allah of what?
So you're supposed to, if you inform Allah, if you can actually understand what this means. There, Aladdin, can you explain what this actually means? My bet is no.
I think he said he had to go to work. He made a snide comment about Mary.
Oh, you know what? He couldn't answer the question. That Darcy asked him, what does cognitive mean? I said, ask him what cognitively deficient means, and he can't answer that too.
Okay, so we continue 144. And from the camels 2, and from the cows 2. Say, are the 2 males forbidden, or the 2 females, or that which the wombs of the 2 females enclose? Or were you witnesses when Allah commanded you this? So who is more unjust than who forged a lie against Allah to mislead the people without knowledge? Surely Allah does not guide the unjust people. But why are they unjust? Because Allah does not guide them. I mean, this is like, oh my God, I can't wait till Mary comes out with her translation.
Okay, well, it's not any clearer. It really is not, because this has to do, he's trying to make some kind of argument about why people should not have the pagans should not have their taboos against certain animals, but it's just so incoherent that nobody's quite sure what he's trying to argue here. Like even the Muslims can't. They know that he's talking. There was a female camel whose milk was only used for idols, and no one was allowed to milk it. There was a female camel let loose for free pasture for the idols, and nothing was allowed to be carried on it. So they have these various traditions, and this somehow relates to them, is supposed to be an argument about them, but nobody's really sure. Like you can go to all the Islamic sources and nobody's sure what on earth he's trying to say specifically about this.
So let me make sure I'm clear in my understanding. Mary, are you saying that Islamic scholars have no clue what Allah is communicating in his clear Quran?
That would be correct. Nobody has it. They know that it has to do with like certain animals being forbidden, but exactly how this is supposed to be articulated and what he's arguing against, like this really makes no sense in any language. 8 pairs, 2 of sheep, of goats 2. Say, is the 2 males he is forbidden, or the 2 females, or what the wombs of the 2 females contain? Inform me with knowledge if you are truthful. So he's trying to say that because some animals are set aside and their wombs are considered sacred, and then some other animals are set aside whenever they're adults for certain purposes, that because different animals are set aside for different reasons, that this is somehow contradictory. But of course it's not. Like if the pagan gods had wanted X number of animals for this and this type of animal with a certain kind of ear pattern for that or whatever, it wouldn't be contradictory. So this is the world's worst argument. He's just trying to say like, oh, there's some kind of contradiction here, but there isn't. And it's like, who told you to do this? So if you can't tell me who it was, at what point it was that this tradition was dictated by a law, then you shouldn't be doing this. But the argument is just horrific. It's just a disaster of an argument.
All right. Let's see what Usama says. The dietary laws were copied from the Old Testament of the Bible. It is lawful to eat forbidden food only out of necessity. All right, 145. Say, I do not find in what has been revealed to me anything forbidden for the eater to eat, except of that which was dead. What's 31? 31 of itself.
So we're talking about no roadkill.
Right.
Right. It means no roadkill, no things that died natural death, nothing that,
Got to make sure you kill it. Or blood poured forth, or swine meat. So surely this is unclean or profane, being slain in the name of other than Allah. So whoever is compelled without desiring nor returning, so surely your Lord is forgiving and merciful.
So that last whole part that last sentence part of that it's unnecessary and it's unneeded and it removes the little bit of clarity that was there.
So if I force a Muslim to eat some bacon like the Chinese are doing, it's okay because
that's the thing. That's why no non-Islamic country should ever permit halal slaughter, because halal slaughter is inhumane, period. Halal slaughter is inhumane. It's awful. It should not be approved because it is not required that Muslims eat halal food if they don't have access to other ones. So as long as you don't have another choice, and as long as you don't basically go back for seconds, you can eat non-halal food. So there should be no halal slaughter in any country that is not Islamic, because it's inhumane and it is catering to giving a special classification to Muslims that they should not have.
So that's pretty much it. That's your answer right there. Chapter 6, 145. So whenever you meet a Muslim who says they have to eat something halal food, prison officials, wherever you are, school officials, quote this verse to them because that will solve your problem. What? Don't you know the Quran? Yeah.
146. And to those Jews, now, why does it say into those Jews? Because that kind of implies there's categories of Jews.
Well, there was in his mind, there's still those tribes.
Okay, because I'm thinking, and to the Jews, all right, and to those Jews, we did forbid every animal having a hoof, and of the cows and the sheep, we forbid them its fat, except what might be on their backs or their entrails. Okay. And what is attached to the bone? So what other fat might we be talking about? The fat on the back, it's okay. The fat in the entrails is okay. And the fat that's attached to the bone. What else would the fat be?
There is actually a specific kind of fat that is forbidden that I believe is I think the kidney fat is forbidden. For Jews to eat. But it falsely says here, absolute lie, that we recompense them for their rebellion. Surely we speak truly, like that they got these extra things forbidden to them because they had rebelled after Moses came, which is a complete lie.
Okay, now let me ask you this. It says, this we, I'm assuming the we is referring to Allah.
Yes.
So Allah rewarded them for their rebellion, and surely
recompensed. Yes.
Recompense.
It's not a positive sense. It's just that this is what you get for it.
Surely we are truthful. So does that mean that Allah can lie?
Yeah. Well, of course Allah can lie, but it's also there's also something interesting here that we that is that or there is a true or. So we forbade them except what their backs carry, or their entrails, or what is joined with the bone. So normally you would expect this to be a wa, okay, like, and which can be read either as an and or an or, which means that if it's on any of these places, then you can eat it, okay? But the kind of word that's used here of or, you would expect it to be one of the three that's not allowed, or that is allowed, and the rest are not allowed. That's the interesting thing. This gets lost in English because we use or and differently than we have inclusive ors. But this is an exclusive or, where you would expect only one of these three things, and somehow Allah seems unsure about which one of these three is not forbidden.
So we're back to the God of perhaps.
Yeah, just the God of uncertainty. He just doesn't know which were forbidden and which weren't.
All right.
So
147. So if they deny you, so say, your Lord is a possessor of large mercy, but his severity will not be turned aside from the criminal people. Okay, so his all right, so his mercy has a quantity. Okay. 148. Those who are polytheistic will say, if Allah willed, we did not become polytheists, nor our fathers, nor were we forbidden anything. So even the polytheists know, hey, we're polytheists because Allah willed us to be polytheists. Blame him. Likewise, those who came before them denied until they had tasted our severity. Okay, that's definitely Allah speaking. Say, do you have any knowledge that you bring it out to us?
So Allah's asking someone else for knowledge? Is that what we're hearing here?
That's Allah telling Muhammad to say.
It's supposed to be a challenge, like, how do you know that this is true? You don't have any knowledge of this. You're just assuming it. You're only guessing. But the thing is, they're not guessing, because Muhammad just said that the reason that they're polytheists is because Allah willed them to be misguided. This is not, hey, I'm making something up. This is, hey, according to what you say, I'm misguided because Allah wanted to be misguided. Why do you keep pestering me if your own belief is that Allah wants me to be misguided?
And this just even gets more confirmed on the next one. Allah chooses not to lead all men in the right way. So 149, say, this is Muhammad talking, say, so to Allah is the decisive argument. So if he willed, he would guide you all. Okay, so Allah doesn't want to guide everyone. Why not? What kind of God is this? 150, say, come, your witnesses, those who testify that Allah has forbidden this. So if they testify, so do not testify with them, and do not follow the desires, those who denied our verses, and those who do not believe in the hereafter, and they set up equals with their Lord. Yeah, man,
I mean, he's like trying to condemn them, and then immediately confirms what they said. So why do they have a problem?
That's the funny part.
Yeah, I know. It's like, how dare you say that? You're only guessing. And then Allah has the conclusive argument, and if he had willed, he would have guided you all. So he does it well. So you were right all along. Like, what kind of argument is that? Just crazy.
It's circular.
I mean, if this is definitely making me want to become a Muslim. This is so clear. Okay, so verses. Okay, what does Usama say? I think we're almost at the end.
Okay, verse 6, 151.
You may have to cut the show at the end of chapter 6, so we can start and not. Okay, verses 6, 151, 17, 33, and 25, 68. Justify honor killings of forbidden souls, Muslims, in the instance of murder, adultery, or apostasy. All right, here we go again. Say, come, I will recite what your Lord has forbidden to you, so that you will not partner anything with him, and be good to your parents, as long as your parents are Muslim, and do not kill your children because of poverty. That makes sense. We will provide for you from having you attack other people and stealing their resources, and for them, do not draw near the indecencies, what appears from it, or what is hidden.
What appears from it and what's hidden? What are we talking about? What appears?
I don't know.
Indecencies? Are we talking about Muhammad's sexual fantasies?
I mean, it could be. And do not kill the soul which Allah forbids, except with a just cause. This is what he commanded you. Perhaps you may understand. I mean, if they don't understand, it's because, bro, you're not very clear. Now, who's talking here? Is this Allah or is this Muhammad? Or is this Allah again? Doesn't know. Allah is the God of perhaps. I'm going to have to do a room on that.
Yeah, this is supposed to be Muhammad speaking to them, but then the perhaps is they are from Allah that Muhammad's supposed to be saying.
Allah forgot to say, or okay, no, it's just a continuation. I didn't see the say up there.
Yeah,
okay.
It's a continuation for 151.
It's a long one. Okay, 152. And do not come near the money of the orphan. Well, okay. How did the orphan get money? Must have been from the parents that they killed. Accept what is good until he reaches his strength and fulfill his 32 measure of food, stuff, non-Arabic, Syriac origin. Okay, and the weight. And the weight with exactness. Oh man, this is so beautiful. I completely understand that. Okay. We will not task a soul beyond its ability. And if you say, so be just, even though he was a kinsman and fulfilled the covenant of Allah, this he has commanded you. Perhaps you will remember. I don't know, Paul, man, but did you understand any of this crap?
It just is going straight through my head because it's so unclear. There's no.
I mean,
here's the thing I'll say about this. Anytime I see a passage with Islam that has to do with money and orphans, that's in 9 times out of 10 in today's world, that is the money. When you see Muslims collecting money for orphans, that's the money that's going to terrorism. And you can thank that. I mean, that's 9 times out of 10. That's actually what happens. So they will go through ISNA. They'll go through all these organizations that are especially related to the Muslim Brotherhood in the United States and Canada and around the world. They'll do all these fundraisers for Muslims, and they give the money to organizations like Hamas and Hezbollah. And I can go on and list all these organizations that they're actually giving money to. I mean, it's documented, well-documented history. So they're actually violating the Quran when it comes to that. So
where did the orphan get the money?
That's an important point too. How does an orphan have money unless they get it from their parents? Then it should have been to support them. And orphans are people that are on the streets usually who have no money and they take care of them. So where does this? How do they have money?
I don't know.
Unless you have a relative who has stolen their inheritance.
It could be like Muhammad. 153. And surely this is my straight way. Okay. So follow it. And do not follow the ways, so it will separate you from this way. Oh my God, man. And I thought English as a second language when I was 8 years old was bad. This is like driving me. Where's my tequila? I haven't had a tequila shot in ages. I may have to. I may have to have a little tequila shot before I do these shows. Okay, this is what he commands you. Okay, Not really sure what the commands are, but that's okay. Perhaps you may fear. Now, if this is Allah talking again,
Fear what?
what
I
is
mean, there's nothing there to fear.
Oh my God! Then all of a sudden, how the hell did Moses get into this?
And
Then we
this is
gave Moses
the unclear book.
Okay, but at least in this one, it's got a lot more about the because this is supposed to be what the chapter of the cattle or something, or the livestock.
I think that's right.
So yeah, okay. So it does talk about livestock and all that. It's better than the chapter of the table, which had 2 verses that talk about a table that comes from the heaven. So 154. Then we gave Moses the book. Now I know what the book is, but if I was somebody who didn't know anything, I would be asking, gave Moses the book? What book? Completely for him who does good, and expounding on everything and a guidance and mercy. So Moses was given a book that apparently explains everything. I think that's one of the verses that says the Quran is a book that explains everything. But this is talking about the book that was given to Moses. Okay. Expounding on everything and the guidance and the mercy. Perhaps with the meeting of their lords, they will believe. So they're going to have a meeting with the Lord, but Allah doesn't come down. So,
is his book not? I mean, this is a problem here. Is that Muhammad must think, since he's so unclear, that Moses's book must be unclear.
But I'm still wondering, how is Allah going to have a meeting? Okay, and this book, we sent it down blessed, so follow it in fear. Perhaps you may receive mercy. Man, Allah, dude, don't you know if you're going to give us mercy or not?
Oh, we can't tell because he's got to flip a coin.
Could you tell me what book this is? Okay, so 156, that you say, surely the book was only sent down to 2 assemblies. Okay, what's 33? 33, the Jews and the Christians. Allah, the clear God, couldn't just say, sent down to the Jews and the Christians. I got to go try to figure out what the hell is assemblies before us. And we were not aware of their studying. What the hell, man?
Wait a minute. So Allah is saying he doesn't know what you're doing, but he's always peeping. He only knows when he's peeping is what he's saying.
Okay, I mean, this is Muhammad speaking, okay, because this is say, all right, surely the book was only sent down to 2 assemblies, and we've determined that that's the Jews and the Christians. But what book? The Jews and the Christians have 2 different books.
Well, the Christians would say...
Is he talking about the Bible?
We have another testament.
So according to Islam, there's only one book that has come down in different forms. And so it says explicitly that both the Jews and the Christians study the book. So it says only the book because that is the only book. So according to, if you just read the Quran and didn't know anything about the Torah and the Injil, you would expect them to be word for word the Quran, but in different languages, perhaps some more, perhaps a little bit less, but you would expect it to be the same book because that's what the Quran describes it as.
That's an interesting statement because, I mean, coming from a Jewish or a Christian background, you'd be sitting there like, I mean, this is a statement that Allah is ignorant. That's what
I don't think. Oh, okay, that's 33. That's not a verse number. Okay, so the 2 assemblies before us, and we were not aware of their studying. So who's the we that was not aware?
Allah.
Would that be Muhammad or Allah?
It's a reference to Allah, isn't it?
I mean, I would think so. Is Muhammad calling himself a royal we?
I think he already does refer to himself that way.
I mean, he does have 99 names like Allah, and I think 3 of them are actually the same as Allah. For sure, one of them. Okay. 157. Or you say, if the book had been sent down on us, Okay, stop sending down books on people. That's gotta hurt. We surely would have been more guided in them. Okay. So indeed, is he trying to say that the Muslims didn't have a book, so that's why the other ones are more guided than Muhammad?
Yeah, what they're saying is that there's one book, okay? So what happened was Moses was given the book, right? And that book is the complete book, which distinguishes everything. It is a guidance and a mercy that maybe they would believe in Allah. So this is also a book, okay? So this, meaning the Quran, is also a book. The Quran doesn't actually call itself the Quran inside the Quran. Quran just means a recitation, so it means any portion of what Muhammad's saying, okay? And so it doesn't mean the whole thing. So, goodness, if you go to, you'll find that the reason it was sent down so that in Arabic is so that the Arabs won't have an excuse now saying that the book was only sent down upon other people, so it's not for us. So we've been heedless of the study. So now we have our own book, our own copy of the book in our own language, right? And now you can't say that if we had gotten the book, we would have been more rightly guided. Now you have the book, so now you must show that you are the most rightly guided ones, and the Arabs who are rejecting it are the most evil of all because now they're rejecting now that they've gotten a book. So that's what's trying to be said here extremely badly.
Okay, so indeed a proof came to you from your Lord in guidance and mercy. So who is more unjust than he who denies the verses of Allah and turns away from it? We will reward those who turn away from our verses. What an evil torment, because they were turning away. Okay.
So it sounds like people are reading the Quran or getting his recitations and laughing at him. And he's not happy with that.
I mean, come on. When you laugh at this book, I mean, I actually want to cry, but you know, I think you're right. I think this was written by somebody whose Arabic was their second or third language, because man, I mean, 158. Do they wait except for the coming of the angels for them, or the coming of your Lord, or the coming of some signs of your Lord? A day some signs of your Lord come, the faith any soul will not profit unless he has believed before or earned good through its faith. Say, wait, surely we are waiting. What the hell
so
are you
this
waiting
Allah is still all about the only way you earn, you have to earn your way to heaven or to his concept of paradise. There's no forgiveness. There's no salvation. You have to earn it.
All right. So 159. Surely those who divided their religion and they were sects, you are not from them at all. Surely their fear is only to Allah. Then he will inform them about what they were doing. Whoever comes with the good, so to him there will be 10 like it. And whoever comes with the evil, so he will not be rewarded except like it. Okay. So if you're good.
Okay. So yeah, the second part is actually completely unassociated with what came before. So whenever it says, so he's going back again and attacking the folks who say, look, if you're saying that angels brought the book, an angel brought the book of Moses to Moses, why can't you get a book brought to you by an angel? Why do you have to stand here and shake and blow like a camel and do all these weird things to get the book? Okay. So then if you jump to, if you know, so he's saying that no, and asking why are there no signs? Why are there no miracles? Right? So Allah should come, or one of Allah's miracles should come, but instead it's just shame on you for doing that, and say, watch and wait. We too are waiting. Now, this is a weird part, okay? So why would Allah be waiting? Who is this we? Because Muhammad is supposed to be speaking here. Is this we supposed to be all the Muslims? Is Muhammad ordered to speak by Allah for the Muslims, or is this we Allah? Is Allah waiting for something to happen? It's very strange. Then he goes off and attacks the Jews and the Christians, saying that they're the ones who made divisions in their religion and have become sects, and that there shouldn't be any divisions or sects in religion, and that there should just be one unified body, and Allah is going to come and condemn them for misunderstanding Al-Kitab, the book, the scripture that they have, right? Because the only reason that Jews and Christians are in disagreement is because of misunderstanding. Muhammad has no idea that the Torah and the Injil contain different things. He has not a clue. So then Allah will come and tell them who was right and who was wrong, is what is at the end there. Then we find that whoso brings a good deed shall have the 10 like it. So this basically means that, hey, guess what? I know that you can't actually pay for your own sins. It's okay, because all you need to do is pay for 1/10 of your sins, and that will count for the whole thing. That's what this next section is about. So you earn 10 times what you've done if you do a good thing, and you earn only the weight of the bad thing if you do that bad thing. So you'll be able to cancel out all your bad deeds by doing just 1/10 of the good deeds that are needed to cancel out all the horrible things that you do. Because you can totally do that in Islam. You can unspoil fruit according to Islam. That's the important thing. Because we need to understand that sin is like rot. Sin is like spoiled fruit, spoiled rotten fruit. And in Islam, as long as you have, good fruit thrown in on top of it, it's all good. You just mix it together, and that little bit of poison doesn't matter at all. It's fine.
Hey,
apparently Allah doesn't know that, if you have rotten fruit with good fruit, the good fruit will become rotten.
Well, but I mean, don't forget, if a fly falls in your soup, try not to throw it away until you dunk that sucker in there.
Give it a dump.
You know what? I've never seen me throwing good, like I'm usually really bad. Like, let's say fruit salad. I usually end up throwing most of it out because, I'll eat it the first day that I get it. Then I'll put it in the fridge, and then I'll forget about it. And next thing I know, that thing's growing things that I don't even know what's in it. So maybe what I got to do is I got to go back to the store, and I got to get some good fruit. I'm going to throw it in there, and then see how that works.
So anyway, this 160 is what a lot of Muslims rely on to say, yeah, we can totally pay for our own sins. But they don't understand how sins work. They don't understand that good does not absolve you of evil, that you can't get rid of a poison in that way.
Yeah, but see, but here's the thing. If you read the hadith from Muhammad, and there's more than one, I think there's at least 3 or 4 that I could find, clearly says that Allah loves the sinner to the point that if you don't sin, well, hell, he's going to kill you and replace you.
Well, Allah doesn't. Well, it says explicitly Allah does not love the sinner. However, if you don't sin, then Allah would kill you.
Yes, so, that's what he's saying.
But he doesn't love the sinner. He doesn't love you at all. He doesn't love you unless you're a good Muslim. But a good Muslim is a person who sins and then repents. And then that sinning is as necessary as the repentance. And he values the repentance above the sin. So it's actually better to do something evil and then repent of it than it is to do no evil, which is just absolutely appalling. But it's a way for Muhammad to get away from his own fears and doubts and everything else.
Sounds like Allah lives in an echo chamber, and he's got to have people sending and asking for forgiveness to the point where he says, hey, man, if these people don't sin, nobody's going to be asking for my forgiveness. I'm going to feel a little unappreciated, so I'm going to kill them and replace them. All right, let's go to 161. I thought this darn thing ended at 160, but I guess I was wrong. Say, surely my Lord has guided me to a straight way, a valuable religion, the religion of Abraham. Hanafin, and he was not of the polytheists. Okay, so Allah guided who? I mean, if this is Muhammad saying, my Lord has guided me to a straight
So
way.
Mary, can you explain to people what Hanifan is?
It actually means pagan, which is a hilarious thing. It means a heathen. A Hanif was thought by Muslims to mean, and this is even like the wrong. This is like an indefinite noun, so it's not even like the right form of the word. But because I think Muhammad had no idea what the word even really meant, but it comes from Hanpa in Aramaic, which was a term used for Hellenistic folks who were like Neoplatonists and other kinds of heretics who were not typical polytheists. So it wasn't somebody who went to the temple of Artemis. It was somebody else with some sort of weird wacko Greek philosophy, or a Gnostic or a Neoplatonist or someone like that. But it was a word that meant heathen, a disbeliever, right? Who wasn't one of the typical pagans, but was a different kind of heathen. And Muhammad thought that it meant a monotheist, a person of true faith. So here he just called Abraham a heathen.
And he doesn't know it. I love it. This is another example of Allah not knowing.
Well, Muhammad constantly uses big words, except he doesn't know what these big words mean. He just keeps using these big words without knowing what they mean. So he, like those kids in class who were like, they thought they were really smart and they wanted to look smart to everyone else, so they'd use big words. But if you actually knew the words they were using, they were always using them wrong. Like they weren't.
This is like where Usama was. I don't know if it was the last time or one of the other shows I was on. He explained how he was as a person going through an English class, and he used a word wrong, and he was totally embarrassed when he learned what it meant. But again, this is another example of maybe this book is written by someone who does not speak Arabic and has a very low cognitive scale and is trying to speak above his ability. Something like Aladdin.
Well, I think that this actually shows that it was written by an uneducated, illiterate type of Arabic speaker who kept borrowing words from other languages and used them wrong. So he would get into trouble anytime he used any kind of foreign word, because he would use it wrong. And he, sometimes he used some of them right, but he used a ton of them in the wrong way. But he was trying to appear like smart, like he knew all these fancy words from other languages. And he would just use the wrong word just constantly.
That's what I would expect from a merchant who is illiterate.
Yeah.
And that's, if Muhammad actually did do this part, he's proving his illiteracy, and he's proving he does meet other cultures, but he's also proving he has no clue at the same time.
All right, 162. Say, surely my prayer and my ritual in my life and my death are to Allah, the Lord of the worlds. He has no partner. And with that I am commanded, and I am the first of the Muslims. But I thought Abraham was a Muslim.
Yeah. Yep. And just before it said that Abraham had been the Hanif, which to them is a Muslim. Yeah, but of course, Muhammad can't keep things straight from 1 minute to the next.
Is it Muhammad that can't keep things straight, or is it Allah that can't keep things straight?
There isn't a difference.
164 again. Say, will I seek a Lord other than Allah? And he is Lord of everything. And every soul will not earn except what is against it. And, against it. That no bearer of a burden bears the burden of another. Then to your Lord is your return, so he will inform you about what you are differing. Well, that's funny, because I'm pretty sure there's a hadith that says any Muslim that comes with the sin as high as a mountain, Allah's going to take the sins and give it to a Jew or a Christian.
Yep.
What happened to no bearer of burdens from another person?
You expect Allah to be consistent and to make sense? Come on now. You have to know better by
Now,
now.
Paul, this
Wait a
also
minute.
goes.
Are we saying that hadith can abrogate Quran?
But remember,
Oh, yeah.
in that verse, I think it was chapter 5, where one of the sons of Adam, when one kills the other, one says that the other one should bear their sin. So I guess you can, because apparently the one that killed the other brother is going to bear his sins and the ones that he committed. So yeah.
So Allah's not consistent. He's not clear, and not being consistent, not being clear. That says you can't trust him. And why would people worship something they can't trust? That's something I don't understand.
None of it makes any sense.
165. And he is who has made you the viceroys of the earth, and has
Viceroys.
I'm sorry.
Viceroys.
Viceroys.
Just viceroys. It means like vice president, viceroys, vice kings. Yeah.
Okay, viceroys of the earth, and has raised some of you above others in degree, so that he may test you in what he gives you. Surely your Lord hastens the punishment, and surely he is forgiving, merciful. Alhamdu to Allah.
Is that the end of this?
Yeah,
wow.
That is the end. That is the definitions according to the words that don't have any meaning. So we are
that are not Arabic, in general.
We are on chapter 7, Al-Araf, a portion of a revelation in the name of Allah, the merciful, the merciful. Okay. I mean, I got the merciful the first time. I don't need the second merciful. Okay, well, we actually went an hour and a half. Not bad. Not bad. So we will pick up next time on chapter 7. Mary, if you're free, feel free to join.
If it's going to be on Friday, I'll be free. If it's Thursday, only for a short while. If it's Wednesday.
Your commentary, so thank you for being here.
I don't do Thursdays because Paul has a show on Thursday.
I meant Wednesday. Wednesday, I'm only partly there. Wednesday's not a great day for me.
Tuesdays, Eric has his show.
So this works out. Fridays is good for me.
Yeah,
Friday's good for me.
Weekends also work too. So let me see. Who do we have? Roughneck, my pal from Pal Talk. Nim Grace. Okay.
So the viceroy is a reference to what Muhammad said that Adam was created for, to be a viceroy.
And does he even know what viceroy means?
Well, the word is vizier in Arabic. So it is a, let's see where.
Basically, it's like a wise man, a elder leader.
No, that would be mullah. Hang on. This one who made you. Oh, no, this one is Khalifa. So it's Khalifa. Successors. So it's actually what it is. So inheritors.
So deputy.
Yes.
Isn't Khalifa a deputy?
Yes.
Interesting.
But it's also specifically a successor, like someone who comes after.
So now this right here, this word you're saying implies that Muhammad knew at some point there would have to be a successor, but it made no plans, or his God made no plans.
Oh no, he didn't think that there would be a successor to himself.
Yeah.
He thought that he appointed you as the human beings are the heirs of God on earth, essentially. That's why they're called caliphs, as God's successors, as God's inheritor is actually the word here. So basically, you're the one who comes after Allah on earth and rules in that way. So the caliphs were called caliphs because they were successors of Muhammad, were not just kings; they were rather successors of Muhammad. But Muhammad believed that the return was going to happen before he died. He believed that the end of the world was nigh until he was on his deathbed. And then on his deathbed, he taught that he would resurrect after 3 days. And instead, a dog ate him. So instead of being resurrected, he got eaten by dogs and then buried.
Oh.
So, of course,
Mary, do you have a source for that? The dogs eating him?
Oh, yeah. It's very well known. There are a bunch of stories about the dogs eating him. Yeah, it's just either Reason Answered or Lloyd de Jong, which I probably just mispronounced his name. Sorry, Lloyd, if you ever see this. Anyway, I think it was Reason Answers on Lloyd's site
I've seen that too. Yeah.
Who gave that presentation. But anyway, yeah, I had seen it before. No, he said he was going to resurrect in 3 days, and instead he got eaten by dogs. So there were no plans for successor because Muhammad thought that the end of the world was nigh. There would be no reason for there to be a successor if the world was going to end.
Well, if you look at the verse about the moon splitting, that's supposed to be a sign of the imminent demise of the world.
Well, yeah, Muhammad he saw. So Muhammad, who's not very bright, saw an eclipse and thought that the world was coming to an end. That's all it was. It was an eclipse.
Well, isn't he also the guy who was afraid of rain?
Well, yeah, he was afraid of rain, but he was afraid of rain because he thought
naked.
Well, he would walk around in fear whenever it rained because he was specifically afraid of this impending doom. Because remember, he's talking about this doom. This doom is going to come. Every single city is going to be smited, right? Every city is going to be destroyed. And it's going to, and that this doom is not going to come until the warning comes. And the people who are among the believers should not have any fear. They will not sorrow. They have nothing to fear from the smiting coming. Muhammad, by this time, went into paroxysms of doubt and fear and terror because he knew deep down inside that he was a false prophet. And so he would have panic attacks anytime rain came because he thought that it was coming to kill him. It's that simple. He thought that Allah was coming to smite the people and him included. That's why he was afraid.
That explains him running around naked whenever he got scared. I mean, you got a prophet that's a streaker. Running around, takes off all his clothes whenever it rains because he's scared.
Well, I haven't seen any of the ones that say that he takes off his clothes, but I have seen lots of other ones that said his face would change colors.
I just saw that one. He takes off his clothes. I just saw that yesterday. It was I have to pull it back. You gotta
save those, Paul. Those are gold nuggets.
If you can send it to me on Skype, if you don't,
I will.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if you could send me the ones on the dog chewing on his butt, that'd be great.
Yeah, I'd love that too.
Well, we know he didn't. Well, I mean, so much for the prophets don't decay because he already went into the grave missing some chunks. See, that's what he gets for giving a command to kill the dogs. That was payback.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'd have to agree with you. The dogs had their bite.
They had their last laugh. They said, oh, this is the guy that had the command for us to be killed. Yeah, let's go have a piece of him. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. Nim Grace, thank you. My schnauzer wouldn't have liked this flavor. I don't blame your schnauzer. I'll see you guys again next time. If you're on Clubhouse is so addictive that it's, well, Mary knows that she's on there. Paul, I haven't really seen you that much on there.
That's not something I would find myself attracted to be honest. So.
All right, guys. Thank you for coming.
Right.
God bless you all. Be safe, and we'll do it again.
God bless. See y'all.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.